Walter Thompson's words hit me like a punch to the gut as he stood in my son's sleek condo kitchen, his tailored tuxedo hanging pristine on a rack behind him. The greatest gift you could give us would be to vanish from our family for good. He flashed that fake, polished smile I'd come to despise. My son James nodded in agreement, not even glancing my way. 3 years ago I'd sold my cherished lakeside cabin, the one my late wife, Ellen, and I had poured our hearts into restoring to give James and Walter the down payment for their dream condo in downtown Seattle. $90,000, my life savings, handed over with a father's boundless love. They'd promised I'd always have a place there, always be part of their family. Now, the day before their lavish wedding, which I was bankrolling, Walter decided I was expendable. "You heard him?" James finally said, his voice icy. "This is our big weekend. Your negativity is ruining everything." My negativity? I'd spent the morning coordinating with the florist, the afternoon sorting out last-minute logistics, and the evening listening to Walter complain about everything from the Puget Sound breeze to the caterer's menu. The only negative thing I'd done was suggest we might not need ice sculptures carved into doves. "Where exactly am I supposed to go?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. Walter shrugged, inspecting his manicured nails. "I don't know, a hotel. Your sister's place in Portland. Honestly, Richard, I don't care where you go, as long as you're not here tomorrow." "This is my son's home too," I reminded him. "Actually," James cleared his throat, "it's more Walter's place now. He's been handling the finances, overseeing the upgrades. You just gave us some cash once." Some cash, $90,000, reduced to some cash. I stood in the kitchen, where I'd cooked countless family dinners, staring at the marble countertops I'd helped pick out, the custom shelving my money had funded. These people had taken everything I'd given and convinced themselves they'd earned it. That's when something inside me shifted. Not broke, shifted like a gear locking into place. "You're right," I said softly. "I should go." Walter looked surprised, probably expecting tears or arguments he could later spin to his friends as Richard being difficult again. "I'll pack and be gone within the hour," I said. James looked relieved. "So that's probably best, Dad. We can talk after the honeymoon, once things settle down." As if this was a minor spat over table settings, I went upstairs to the guest room. Never my room. Always the guest room, because guests leave. As I packed my suitcase, I could hear them downstairs, already planning to turn the space into a home theater or a gym. Neither considered that maybe they should feel a shred of guilt for kicking out the man who'd made their perfect life possible. I paused at Ellen's photo on the nightstand. 42 years of marriage, and she'd never once made me feel unwanted in our home. "Don't worry, love," I whispered to her image. "I'm not going down without a fight." But first I had calls to make. Sitting in my car outside the condo, no, scratch that. The condo my money bought, I dialed my lawyer's emergency line. Sarah Patel had handled my affairs since Ellen's passing. She'd warned me about this exact scenario. "Richard, it's Saturday night. Everything okay?" Sarah asked. Sarah pulled the paperwork on the condo purchase. "All of it." A pause. "Did something happen with James and Walter?" I told her everything. Walter's ultimatum, James's betrayal, the casual dismissal of my $90,000 as some cash. Sarah listened, her keyboard clicking furiously. "Richard, I've been worried about this for months. They've treated your investment like a gift, not what it legally is." "What do you mean legally is?" Another pause longer. "You don't remember the extra documents I had you sign after you mentioned concerns about Walter's spending?" My pulse quickened. "Sarah, tell me you protected me somehow." "Oh, I did. That $90,000 wasn't a gift. It was a loan. You're a co-owner of that condo, with a 35% stake. Walter never signed the acknowledgement forms I sent. Legally, your name's on the deed." I nearly dropped the phone. "You're serious?" "Dead serious. The mortgage company lists you as a co-borrower. The deed reflects your ownership. It's ironclad. Through the condo's floor-to-ceiling windows, I saw Walter showing off his tuxedo to someone on a video call, probably his sister, laughing and gesturing wildly. oblivious to the conversation about to upend his world. Sarah, hypothetically, what happens if I want to sell my share? As a co-owner, you can force a sale. James and Walter would have first right of refusal to buy you out at market value. If they can't afford it, the condo goes on the market, and proceeds are split by ownership percentages. I watched James join Walter in the kitchen, popping open a bottle of champagne. Toasting their freedom from the burdensome father, Sarah prepare a notice of intent to sell. I want it delivered Monday morning. Richard, are you sure? Once this starts, I've never been surer. They want me gone. Fine, I'm taking my 35% with me. After hanging up, I sat in the darkening car, watching my son and his fiancée celebrate in the condo I'd made possible. They had no idea their perfect world was about to implode. But first, one more call. Harborview Event Center, this is Emily. Hi, Emily, Richard Thompson. I need to speak to your catering manager about tomorrow's wedding reception. Oh, Mr. Thompson, how exciting. The wedding's tomorrow, right? How can I help? I'm afraid there's a change of plans. I need to cancel the reception. Cancel? But, sir, it's less than 24 hours away. The food's prepped, staff's scheduled. I understand, and I'll cover the cancellation fees. I signed the contract and paid the deposit. I believe I have the right to make changes. A rustle of papers. Yes, the contract's in your name with your credit card. But shouldn't you discuss this with the couple? I watched Walter through the window, adjusting his bow tie for the 100th time. The couple made it clear my involvement isn't welcome. I'm just honoring their wishes. 20 minutes later, I was checked into a Marriott across town, ordering room service and feeling a spark. I hadn't felt in years control over my own life. My phone rang at 11:52 p.m. What did you do? Walter's voice screeched so loud I held the phone away from my ear. I honored your request, I said calmly, muting the TV. You wanted me to vanish, so I vanished. The event center called. They said you canceled our reception. Our wedding reception, Richard. 200 people are expecting a party tomorrow. That sounds like a problem, I replied. James grabbed the phone. Dad, this is crazy. You can't cancel our wedding over a misunderstanding about living arrangements. I didn't cancel your wedding, son. You can still get married. I canceled the reception I was paying for. You know, the one costing me $15,000. Silence. I'd never mentioned the cost before, always shielding them from the sacrifices involved. 15,000? Walter's voice was faint. The reception, the flowers, the photographer, the live band. Did you think it was all free? But we can't tell 200 people there's no reception, James stammered. You're resourceful adults. I hear food trucks are a thing now. Walter was sobbing now, the kind of dramatic wails that might have tugged at my heartstrings a year ago. How could you do this to us? We trusted you. Trusted me? You told me to disappear from your family. I'm just complying. I didn't mean forever, Walter wailed. Just for the weekend. Oh, so I was supposed to magically know permanently meant temporarily. My mistake. James tried reasoning. Dad, please. Come back to the condo. We can work this out. The condo where I'm no longer welcome? Where my presence ruins everything. No thanks. Where are you even staying? Walter demanded. Not your concern anymore. You made that clear. I heard frantic whispering, probably them scrambling to undo their mess. Can you at least call the event center back? James pleaded. Maybe say it was a misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding. It was a business decision by the person footing the bill. What about our guests? My family's flying in from Chicago, Walter cried. They can still see you get married. They just won't get a free dinner. You're being cruel, Walter snapped. No, Walter. Cruel was telling the man who funded your dream life to vanish. I'm just being practical. Now that you mention it, I added, letting the words hang, without my financial support, you might find things a bit tight. Something else we should discuss. What do you mean? James's voice was tense. Have you looked at your budget lately? Do you know your monthly expenses versus your income? More whispering. Those were gifts, Walter said weakly. Gifts or an allowance, because allowances can stop any time. Silence stretched. Finally, James spoke. What do you want, Dad? I want what you offered. to disappear from your family, and I'm taking my money with me. By Sunday morning, my phone showed 42 missed calls and 50 texts. I ignored them, savoring room service pancakes and the Seattle Times. The ET2 wedding was set for 2 p.m. At Iggy, 9:15 a.m. A knock came at my hotel door. Through the peephole, I saw James in a rumpled dress shirt, looking like he hadn't slept. "Dad, please, we need to talk," he said when I opened the door but didn't invite him in. "Shouldn't you be getting ready for your big day?" "That's what I need to talk about." Walter's locked himself in the bathroom having a meltdown. His sister's threatening to fly back to Chicago. Everything's falling apart. "I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you figure it out." "Figure it out? Dad, you destroyed our wedding." "No, son. I withdrew my financial support. There's a difference." He pushed past me into the room and I let him. Sometimes you let people dig their own graves. "This is insane." "Over a misunderstanding about where you'd stay." "Sit down, James." My tone made him obey. I stayed standing, looking at my 41-year-old son, who was starting to grasp consequences. "This isn't about where I stay. It's about respect. It's about gratitude. It's about treating the person who made your lifestyle possible like a human being, not a cash machine." "We've always treated you well," he said. "Have you?" "When was the last time you asked about my life, my hobbies, my health? When was the last time you invited me over because you wanted me there, not because you needed a check?" He opened his mouth, then closed it. "I'll wait," I said. Silence, exactly. "In the past 3 years, how much money have I given you and Walter?" "I don't know. A few thousand for emergencies." $38,000, I said. His face paled. "On top of the $90,000 for the condo. That's $128,000. James, more than most people earn in 2 years. We were going to pay you back," he mumbled. "Were you? Because Walter's been eyeing a Tesla, and you're planning a Bali trip. Neither of you mentioned repayment once." He slumped, head in his hands. "What do you want from me, Dad?" "I want you to understand I'm not your ATM. I want you to know kindness isn't infinite. And I want you to realize that when you treat someone badly enough, they stop caring about your problems. So you're punishing us by ruining our wedding." "No, James. I'm protecting myself from financial abuse." "Financial abuse? That's ridiculous." "Is it? You've conditioned me to think my only value is my money. You've taken every dollar I offered and given me crumbs of affection in return." I sat across from him, leaning forward. "Yesterday, Walter told me the best gift I could give was to vanish permanently. And you agreed. After everything I've sacrificed, you agreed." "He didn't mean it," James said weakly. "Yes, he did. And so did you. And you know what? You're getting what you asked for." He looked up, alarmed. "What does that mean?" I smiled, not kindly. "It means you'd better figure out how to pay for your lifestyle. It means you'd better hope Walter's family is feeling generous. And it means you might want to start looking at rentals, because the condo situation's about to get complicated." "What are you talking about?" "The legal documents you never bothered to read when Ellen and I helped with the down payment. The ones that make me a 35% co-owner of your condo." His face went white. "You can't own part of our home." "We live there." "With my $90,000, did you think it just vanished?" "You said it was a gift." I pulled up Sarah's email on my phone. My lawyer had other ideas. "Want me to read you the deed?" "This is impossible." Walter would have had to sign something. He was supposed to. He kept forgetting. Sarah kept the paperwork on file. James was shaking now. "You planned this. If I'd planned this, I'd have pulled the plug before spending $15,000 on your wedding. Think about that." The truth hit him. I'd funded a celebration for people who wanted me gone. "So what now?" he asked, voice small. "You can buy out my 35% at market value. $110,000, since the condo's worth $315,000 now. Or we sell, and you get the proceeds minus my share." "We can't afford $110,000, he said. "I know, I'm good with numbers. That's why I have money, and you two are always broke." He flinched. "We're not broke. We just have expenses. Your income's $9,000 a month. Your mortgage is $2,600. Add car payments, credit cards, utilities. Walter's shopping sprees. You're spending more than you earn. Guess who's been covering the difference? The hotel phone rang. I answered while James processed his new reality. Mr. Thompson, Emily from Harborview. The groom's sister is on the line, asking about reinstating the reception. She's offering to cover the costs. I glanced at James, hope flickering in his eyes. That's generous, Emily, but it's not appropriate for me to accept payment from others for an event I cancelled due to family issues. So the cancellation stands? She asked. Yes, send my final bill to the Marriott. I'll settle up. After hanging up, I turned to James. Walter's sister offered $15,000 to save your reception. Too bad her brother couldn't be civil to the guy paying for it. James pulled out his phone. I need to call Walter. We need to figure out the condo. Go ahead. But make sure he understands I'm not the same man who left your place last night. That guy wanted family peace at any cost. This guy's done being used. He left without a word, probably to break the worst news of Walter's life on what was meant to be his happiest day. 20 minutes later, my phone rang. Walter, voice raw from crying. Richard, we need to talk. No, Walter. You made it clear yesterday you're not interested in talking to me. I was stressed about the wedding. I didn't mean it. It must be exhausting pretending to tolerate someone you despise. I don't despise you, he protested. In 3 years, you've never thanked me for the condo. Never asked about my life, my health, my interests. Never invited me over unless you needed money or a favor. Silence. When was the last time you called just to check on me? I pressed. More silence. Never, I answered for him. But yesterday you told me to vanish permanently. Today I'm family. Which is it? More sobbing. Richard, please. I'll apologize publicly. I'll pay you back. With what? You don't work. You're a consultant with no clients, living in a condo you couldn't afford without my money. I'll get a job, he said. Good idea. But it doesn't fix the condo issue. What if we pay you back for everything? He pleaded. You owe me $128,000. At minimum wage, that's 6 years without spending a dime. Good luck. By 4 p.m., they'd called 18 more times. I ignored them, enjoying a late lunch at the hotel bistro and catching local news about a wedding fiasco at Harborview. The reporter didn't name names, but Walter's tear-streaked face in his tuxedo on the event center steps was unmistakable. Excuse me, are you Richard Thompson? A woman my age with sharp eyes and silver hair approached my table. She looked familiar. I'm sorry, have we met? I asked. Linda Grayson, Walter's mother. She gestured to the empty chair. May I? This could be interesting. I nodded, and she sat with the poise of someone used to navigating crises. I wanted to thank you, she said. I blinked. Thank me? For showing my son who he's become. She ordered tea, then continued. I've worried about Walter for years. His entitlement, his disregard for others, his lack of gratitude. I hoped marriage would ground him. Now I see how he's treated the man who made his life possible. I'm appalled. Her tea arrived. She stirred it thoughtfully. I offered to pay for the reception, not to support Walter's behavior, but for the 200 guests. You were right to refuse. He needed consequences, not another bailout. I studied her. Her honesty was refreshing. He called me, hysterical about the condo, begging me to loan them money to buy you out. I said no. If he wants a home, he should have respected the co-owner. A woman after my own heart. What's your endgame, Linda? Are you asking me to go easy on them? No, I'm saying don't save them from this. Whatever you decide about the condo, let them face the fallout. Walter's never had to answer for his actions, and it's turned him into someone I barely recognize. She handed me her card. I'm flying back to Chicago tomorrow. If you ever need to talk to someone who gets what it's like to love an ungrateful child, call me. After she left, I sat with my thoughts and my buzzing phone. I hadn't decided my endgame. The nuclear option, force the sale, leaving them to find a cheaper place, learning to live within their means. The merciful option, sell my share at cost, $90,000, letting them keep the condo with effort. The spiteful option, hold my stake indefinitely, collecting my share of taxes and upgrades while they squirmed. Then my phone rang, not James or Walter. Mr. Thompson, Detective Alvarez. Seattle PD, we received a report about potential financial elder abuse and concerns about your cognitive health. They're requesting a welfare check. My blood ran cold. Those manipulative brats. Detective, I'm fully competent. In fact, I'm thinking clearer than I have in years. Good to hear, sir. We still need to follow up. Can we meet tomorrow? Absolutely. I have plenty to say about financial abuse, just not the kind they're claiming. After scheduling, I leaned back, smiling. If they wanted to play dirty, I was ready to swing. Detective Alvarez was younger than expected, mid-40s, with a calm demeanor perfect for family disputes. We met at the precinct Monday morning, my financial records in hand. Mr. Thompson, the caller seemed genuinely concerned about your welfare, he said. I'm sure Walter's convincing. When he wants to be. I spread my bank statements across his desk. In 3 years, I've given my son and his fiancée $128,000. Want to see the proof? His eyebrows shot up as he reviewed checks, transfers, and credit card payments, a clear pattern of dependency. This is significant, he said. It is, and when I set boundaries, they decided I must be losing it. I played Walter's 2 a.m. voicemail. Richard, this is unhinged. Normal people don't ruin their family over hurt feelings. We're worried you're having a breakdown. Alvarez took notes. Any history of cognitive issues? None. I manage my finances, drive, live independently. The only change is, I stopped letting them use me. I showed him the condo documents. My lawyer can confirm I'm a 35% co-owner. Canceling the wedding reception was my call. I paid for it. We talked for 25 minutes. Alvarez seemed convinced I was sharp and in control. I'll close this as unfounded. But here's some info on elder financial abuse resources, just in case. I've got it handled, Detective. Driving away, my phone rang. James, Dad. The police said they're not pursuing the welfare check. Because I'm not the one being abused, son. You and Walter have been draining me for years while disrespecting me. What's that supposed to mean? It means the detective was very interested in my documentation. Are you threatening us? I'm informing you your tactics won't work anymore. Dad, please. Can we talk like adults? We can. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., Sarah Patel's office. Bring Walter and a realistic plan for the condo. A plan? I own 35% of a $315,000 asset. That's my retirement. Buy me out or we sell. Your choice. Sarah's office was all glass and steel, a stark contrast to the chaos of James and Walter's lives. They arrived 10 minutes late, looking like they'd fought the whole drive. Walter's eyes were red, his usual polish gone. Richard, Walter began, I owe you a huge apology. I was stressed and said things I didn't mean. Thank you. That's a start. He looked shocked, expecting instant forgiveness. Sarah laid out the condo documents. Richard provided $90,000 for the down payment. He's a co-borrower on the mortgage, with a 35% stake on the deed. James stared at the papers. We didn't know about the ownership. You would have if Walter signed the forms, Sarah said. I sent them 4 times. I was busy with the wedding, Walter mumbled. For 3 years? Sarah's tone was sharp. I let them squirm before speaking. The question is how we move forward. I have a proposal. They leaned in, hopeful. Option 1, you buy my 35% for $110,000. Market value. Walter paled. We don't have that. Option 2, we sell the condo and split the proceeds. We'd have to move, James said. Yes, to something you can afford. Is there an option 3? Walter asked desperately. No, those are your choices. Sarah pulled out a calculator. After fees, a sale might net $280,000. Richard's share would be about $98,000. You'd have $182,000 for new housing. That's not enough for anything decent here, Walter protested. It's enough for a modest condo or an apartment, I said. The kind of place people with your income live in. James ran his hands through his hair. Can we work out a payment plan? At what interest rate? With what collateral? You've already shown you don't honor financial agreements. That's unfair, Walter said. You owe me $38,000 in emergency. Loans you never plan to repay. Why would I trust you with $110,000? Walter started crying. This will ruin our lives. No, Walter. It'll force you to live within your means. They asked for 30 days to decide. As we left, Walter grabbed my arm. Richard, we're family. Doesn't that mean anything? I looked at his hand, then his face. For a moment, I saw fear behind the entitlement. Family should mean something. That's the point. 2 weeks later, Linda Grayson showed up at my hotel with a bottle of Pinot Noir and a determined look. I got your info from Sarah, hope you don't mind. I invited her in, curious. I came to check on the boys, she said, settling into an armchair. And to talk to you. How are they? A mess. Walter's having panic attacks. James is working overtime, trying to get a loan. They're fighting non-stop. Are you here to ask me to reconsider? No, I'm here to tell you about Walter's father. She sipped her wine. Henry spoiled Walter rotten. Every tantrum got a reward, every mistake erased with money. When Walter was 17, he crashed his car speeding. Henry paid off the damages, no consequences. I see now how that shaped him. She pulled out a check for $30,000. Walter asked me to give you this as a good faith payment toward your share. I didn't touch it. What did you say? I said I'm done enabling him. This is from Henry's estate, meant for Walter's future. But giving it to him just repeats the cycle. She tore the check in half. Linda, that's a lot of money. Money he hasn't earned. Whatever you decide about the condo, you have my support even if they lose it. After she left, I realized I'd been Walter's enabler as much as his parents. Every check I wrote taught them they'd always be bailed out. What lesson did I want them to learn now? My phone buzzed. James. Dad, we got approved for a $65,000. Home equity loan to start buying you out. Can we meet to discuss the rest? They were trying, but more debt wasn't progress. I replied, we can meet. But I want a full budget and a debt repayment plan, not just mine. His response was quick. Anything you want, Dad, we want to fix this. The budget meeting at Sarah's office was brutal. Their financials were a disaster. $500 a month on dining out, $350 on Walter's designer clothes, $250 on streaming services and gym memberships they barely used, $900 in credit card minimums for vacations and gadgets. Your income's $9,000 a month, I said. You're spending $10,500. How's that sustainable? With the loan, we can clear the credit cards, Walter said hopefully. And run them up again? I countered. You're still living like you earn double your income. What would convince you we're serious? James asked. I want a budget that matches your income. Walter gets a job. You sell one car to pay down debt. No dining out, no shopping sprees, no new debt for 2 years. A job? Walter looked horrified. You're 38 with a marketing degree. There's no reason you can't contribute. Sarah cleared her throat. Here's my offer. You buy my share for $90,000. Cost, not market value, with conditions. Walter gets a job within 60 days and keeps it for 2 years. Sell a car, stick to a budget with monthly check-ins. Break the terms, and the full $110,000 is due. That's like financial jail, Walter muttered. No, it's accountability, I said. They accepted reluctantly. As they signed, I felt a mix of victory and sorrow. It shouldn't have come to this, but it was the lesson they needed. 6 months later, I was in my new one-bedroom condo near Lake Washington, enjoying a view of the water when Walter called. Richard, I got promoted. He'd started as a front desk clerk at a hotel and moved up to event coordinator. How's it feel? I asked. Exhausting, but I'm good at it. I never knew. You always had potential. You just never needed to use it. A pause. Richard, I'm sorry. Really sorry. I treated you like a bank, not a person. I see now what you gave up for us. What changed your mind? Working. Paying bills. Realizing how hard it is to save $100. Understanding your sacrifices. How's James? Getting there. He thinks you were harsh, but he knows we needed to change. We're cooking together, taking walks. It's nice. I'm glad. Want to grab lunch sometime? Somewhere neutral, simple. Deal, he said, sounding relieved. After we hung up, I looked out at the lake. Walter sounded like an adult, not a spoiled kid. Maybe the lesson had stuck. A text from Linda. Heard about Walter's promotion. Thanks for not giving up on him, I replied. Thanks for not bailing him out. Sometimes the kindest thing is letting people face consequences. Sometimes love means saying no. At 68, I was learning to be valued for who I was, not what I could give. I had a fishing trip planned with a neighbor, Tom, who'd cracked a joke at last week's community potluck that had us both laughing. That was worth more than all the money I'd ever given away. Thursday Etroimet. Thanks for listening. Subscribe, share your story in the comments, and let me know where you're from. Your voice matters.